Hello and welcome to this edition of the Feed and Grain podcast for SFG. We'll talk about grain first, and we've talked about volatility for probably a year and a half now. It just seems like this goes on, and tremendous amount of movement every week, up, down, sideways, just anything you can have happen. This past week we actually had a quiet week, you might say, and there wasn't a lot of change in the markets. But one of the things that could be behind that is low volume in the trade, and people don't realize how much spec money it takes to make the grain markets work in this country, and sometimes we get frustrated with that money, but it's a necessary evil. And in the last month we've seen the daily volume fall off quite a bit, and when that happens you can actually have more volatility because with less trading happening, a large company or a multitude of companies could sway the market almost in a flash. Now with computer trading, they get caught up in pretty quick. All the trading companies have stop losses and sell signs and all that figured into their computer programs, so it typically doesn't go very far before things catch up. We're in week 4 of the Ukraine war. Russia seems intent on continuing to move to try to capture more of that country. Meanwhile, the farm community is at a standstill over there. They are trying to ship a little bit of grain by rail to Poland, Turkey, some other countries, but it'll be a minute amount compared to what would normally go out through the Black Sea. Those ports are still closed. They'll be closed for a long time. They're mined pretty heavy, and it'll take quite some time once this war is over to make those ports usable. Meanwhile, while export sales in this country have been good, we're still selling a fair amount of grain. If there's a backside to that, it's the logistics side. Currently, grain trains are running 4 to 6 weeks behind. Talking to some larger elevators in the last week or so, and they're just now loading February trains. So plus there's some trains that are sitting loaded on sidings waiting for the power, and it's not a shortage of locomotives, it appears to be a shortage of labor. I think we can all relate to that. So truck availability is poor. If you've got a truck and you want to haul grain, you can be busy all week long, not a problem. There again, it's a labor shortage. We also see, or continue to see, parts issues. Everybody's got a truck broke down here or there. Sometimes it's an extra week or 10 days before we can find the parts to get them fixed. Fuel price, that's another factor that's slowing some things down as shippers and receivers both adjust to the new freight rates, you might say. And I'd like to have thought that fuel surcharges were a thing of the past, but they're back, and they will be for the time being until we see the price of oil come back down to a more realistic place. So currently, old crop corn is back in that $7 range. We're taping this on a Monday, and we're up both corn and beans from the overnight. So old crop corn back in that $7 range locally, and beans right there at 16, maybe a little better this morning. So very attractive numbers. I want to say the easy grain has been bought. There's still some farm grain out there, but most guys are hesitant to sell. They're more apt to wait until we see what the planting season brings us, and then on into summer. New crop, we're back in the $6 range on corn, 14 plus on beans, both good prices. Normally you'd say they're excellent prices, but again, everybody's kind of sitting on the sidelines just a little. Next week the USDA releases their prospective planting report. A lot of attention will be given to that report. It's typically a mover. I think this year it could be a huge mover. Not only is corn and beans well priced, wheat is also almost record price. It was record price a couple of weeks ago. It's come back down to more realistic terms, but it's still very high. And cotton, I seen where cotton was like $1.18 the other day, and that's a record high. So you go down that southern fringe area of the Corn Belt, and primarily beans, cotton's going to take away some acres. Strong possibility. So all this will play into the things that we're going to see in the weeks and months to come. Planting season's just around the corner. Hopefully in 3 weeks we're rolling with planters, and if everything goes well, hopefully it'd be great to have a crop like last year once again. That would be fantastic, but I think we also need to realize that realistically it probably won't be quite so good. So with that, we're going to step over to the feed department. High price grain makes grain farmers happy. Sometimes it's
not so much on the feed side.
Yeah, it's the other effect on the feed side. So Scott and Mike will kind of tell you how to work around some of that maybe.
So yeah, the only good thing about the high price feed is the cattle market seems to be hanging in there. So I guess there's always that. But so spring's officially here now. It showed up yesterday, 70 degrees. Like Mark said, in another month the planters will all be rolling and we'll be headed towards summer then. So we're getting close to the end of our Kent mineral bookings. As we talked about in the last podcast, there will definitely be a price increase coming. So if you haven't talked to me or Mike yet, make sure you get that done. Grass tetany will be a concern soon. Whether you use less loose mineral or tubs, make sure that you're prepared. Make sure you get it out to your cows in plenty of time so they can get it in their system, and that way they'll be good to go when the grass green's up. I haven't heard of too many horror stories with calving yet. Most guys say they're getting along good. It does look like we have a more active weather pattern coming up for the near future, so make sure you got a good supply of colostrum and milk replacer. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Also, the Optipace calf tubes, they're handy. If you have a calf that's gotten off to kind of a rough start, these tubes will get them back on track and going again. I've had some producers asking about creep. With the prices I've seen and the way the market looks, it definitely will pay to creep this summer. We should have everything locked down here very shortly, and I'm sure Mike or myself will be out to talk with you. As a side note, to all you Milo grain customers, we've started construction again. Everyone seems to have high confidence this year, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope by the end of the summer Milo has a new high-speed grain system. I think everyone will be impressed with what we're doing. I know I'm excited to see it. That's about all I got this week. Okay. Mike?
Appreciate it. I'll just kind of re-emphasize one thing that Scott said on the colostrum and the scour tubes. Guys, you got to have them on hand. Everything gets sick, and then you wish you'd have had it. Just remember, our colostrum pack mixes in just lukewarm water and stays in suspension. We're more than competitive on price. It can be used as a total replacement or as a partial. And the other thing is, guys, it's fly season. I know you're thinking about planting and all that, but we got to start thinking about fly season because we need to help you get your mineral lined up. And I'll touch that topic a little later. So you got choices. Clarify gets all the flies, as long as the cow eats mineral every day and you keep it in the feeder. Raybon is the same. And IGR only gets the horn fly. So you got to manage face flies some way too. Garlic works, and it's just a repellent. It doesn't kill the larvae, but they can't stand the smell. And the product does work. Again, keep it in the feeders, and then the product will work. The other thing you got to remember, we need to start fly minerals the 15th of April. Get ahead of the fly season. 15th of April, guys. And don't quit it till the hard freeze. If you need C6000, Oriole 6000 for anaplasmosis, you need a VFD from the vet. And we need the VFD in our hands before you pick up or we deliver the mineral. And the vets know how to do it. If they got any questions, they can call us. You have to order 2 ton at a time in any mineral to get the VFD. It's just the way all feed manufacturers are. and the same scenario on fly products. Scott talked a little bit on creep, so we'll have our bulk creep with Bovatech. I've been pricing commodity creeps with guys versus our roughly what we think bulk creep will be, and there's only $40 a ton savings to mix your own commodity creep. So you got labor shrink, you got fines in the soy hulls in the bottom of the feeder, you got to clean out, throw away, and can cause bloat. The other thing you got to remember is on a quality complete pelleted creep, you're going to get a 5-to-1 feed efficiency, and you're going to get an 8.5 to 10 feed efficiency on a commodity creep, even if you keep your feeder set down. So if you look at that, and a quality creep and not fines and not bloated calves, pelleted creep feed looks pretty economical. We rent creep feeders, first come, first serve. Cattle prices are good. If you want to feed or finance the creep feed, you can, and pay for it when you sell the calves. So those are some options for you. I did a little quick numbering. I said there was $40 a ton difference on you making your own creep versus a pellet. Took the feed efficiency difference, took the calf prices. So if you buy a complete pelleted creep, there's $48 extra income above the cost of the creep on a pelleted creep, and there's only $34 on a commodity. Last comment is, or next to the last, I just found out that FOSS is being allocated to all major feed companies for them to make mineral and feed. So if you think you want mineral, I think it's going to be there, but who knows what the price is going to be, because we already got a big price increase coming up April 1st. When they start allocating, who knows what it means, guys. So if you think you want mineral, get it ordered. We got to know shortly before the price increase goes up April 1st, because we got it in. You're going to have to take it, and you're going to have to pay for it when it comes in. So last thing is fescue mineral. Kent and Hubbard both have a true fescue mineral. What I mean by that statement is they have a fescue binder that actually binds up the endophyte in the fescue hay or the fescue pasture and removes it from the cow. If you remove it from the cow, she's going to get bred and she's going to milk. So don't be fooled by everybody telling you they have a fescue mineral. If they don't have a fescue binder, they don't have one. So we want cows to milk. We want to make sure they don't have a body temperature, and we want to make sure they get bred. So get a fescue mineral if you have fescue concerns. So call us anytime. We appreciate your business. We want to work with you one-on-one and build that relationship. So thank you for working with us, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Well, this wraps up this edition of SFG Top Performance Feed and Grain Podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. I want to remind you to check our website daily. We've got grain markets for all of our locations posted approximately 3 o'clock, and they're good till 4. And there's some other good, useful information there every week. Thank you.